Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today, we're going to go through our daily technical analysis update of commodities. I'll give you my financial opinions out there. We're going to go through the DXY yields, work our way through precious metals, and then all of the commodities and ETFs that I follow to get a big grandiose picture of what's going on in the commodity space. I am a commodity bull. I do think some things are shaping up quite well. And if you guys need any help with anything, definitely check out finding-value.com, that little guy over there. Become a platinum member. We have a platinum question and answer session at 5 p.m. Sunday this weekend. I love going to those things. I get really amped up talking about stocks, talking about investments, talking about market conditions. I just love doing this stuff. That's really what it comes down to. So love to have you there. Join our community. It's pretty fun, and I think a lot of people are learning a lot and starting to make a good amount of money. They're seeing positive gains, which is a good thing. So let's dive in here. I'll give you my opinions here. We've got the DXY. The DXY, it was again flat today, but where are those buyers? If we were going to have such a strong recession coming that everyone claims to be coming, I would think you'd see people running into the dollar and bonds. So if that was the case, we would see a strengthening DXY and also a weakening yield. So if people are running to bonds, you would see yields drop. And we're not seeing that. We're seeing kind of the opposite. Yields have been kind of just, we'll look at yields here shortly, but the DXY has more or less been in a downtrend. So that's lower, even though today it was flat. The 10-year yield was up. It gapped up in the morning and it sold off throughout the day. But it's just been kind of moving sideways here. It hasn't broken out of this, we'll call it a support level. Now, I'm not too concerned, even if it does break to the support level, and this does look pretty strong still, where we could be just kind of coming back and then we break out again to the upside. But even if we go down, this could just be one larger return move where we go higher eventually. Again, we've done a massive new shift to increasing breakout for interest rates on a 40-year plus decline in interest rates, and we've broken that to the upside. I expect this, and you can see the green army over here, all those big green candlesticks. I expect this to cool off a little bit and then maybe even resume in the future. TLT, there's your bond prices. They go inversely to yields. We were a little bit lower today. This has tried to make a run higher, but I don't know. I'm not convinced that this thing's going to run much higher. Again, I'm looking for patterns here. I don't necessarily see any patterns here, but we do have a high and we do have a lower high. And that's a little bit interesting. And we'll see where we go over the next month or two. The TYX is yields again. I know I'm going back and forth. This is 30-year yields. And yields were slightly higher today, basically flat for the most part. And then the TYX TNX, which this is how the curve moves. And I'm using on the long end just because it seems like it's less manipulated over there. But we're heading back down, and that generally indicates the curve that is actually inverting more. I know a lot of people think that this thing's going to uninvert. We get this massive recession, housing prices go down 50 to 70%, and all the wishes that people have in the world all come true. But I don't know. I'm not in that camp, guys. I think we're going to stay inverted for a while. I think we're going to be living down here for a good time. It could even be years, and we could even invert more where it goes back down. So, I'm not necessarily claiming that I know the path. Definitely don't know the path, but I think that the inflationary pressures are in the system still, and I don't think interest rates can remove those pressures. They can delay it. They can have the affordability get worse and push it into the future, but I don't know if they can stop the pressure. That doesn't, and when I say things, I don't think people understand exactly what I'm saying. A demographic wanting to buy homes is pressure. If they bring rates to an unaffordable level, it means that house prices could go down in the intermediate or short term if they keep those interest rates up. But your inflation will go down at the same time. The people wanting to buy homes, they're still going to want to buy homes. They just can't do it at this second. So the pressure is still there. It just doesn't mean they can't execute. And when they execute, that's where inflation comes. If you build more new homes and you get more new loans and credit expansion from it. But right now, I think the markets are actually looking good for housing again, surprisingly. And that demand is there. And I think people are starting to realize that interest rates may not come back in the future as much as what some of these guys on the sidelines were hoping for. Looking at the CRB index, this is highly tied to oil prices. We still look great here. We've got the 3-hump consolidation, the lead-in pattern. We're starting to move higher here. And we just had a little bit of a down day today. Everything looks good. Everything's above support. The CRB to S&P 500. Now, I did talk about this. When the S&P 500 and commodities, they can go up together. And we may have blips where the S&P 500 outperforms the commodity index. That's very well positive. So we could come back even more to some level, retest it. Maybe we even come back here. It's possible where they both go up together. But I'm not going to be calling for it. I'm not hoping for it. And I do think that this could go down further, where the S&P 500, it's looking pretty good, could outperform the commodity group for a short period of time. And I think that's going to happen for a little bit. Gold also heading a little bit lower today. It's basically flat, 0.09% lower. It still looks all right, though. And we'll see if the buyers step in or if more selling pressure steps in. That's kind of what I'm looking at. We've had a monster run here from 1628 all the way till 1950. And we are pushing up against some resistance back here. So there is resistance back there. We've got more resistance over here as well. And we're just coming into that resistance. And I think we might kind of do kind of a loop or something. I don't know how big the loop will be, but that's kind of just my first guess. If we rip right through it, wow, that's going to be really strong then. Looking at silver down 1.5%, 23.54. I know a lot of people are talking about they're manipulating it, they're holding it down. Well, I don't know if that's the case, guys. But right now we're just moving sideways in this kind of channel here. The lows are coming on up, and this will squeeze and break. Generally, when you get these squeeze points and they break out of it, you get a massive run. So we'll see what this thing looks like. I'm not a person who buys necessarily the breakout. If I think we're in a good spot, we're consolidating, we've got momentum coming on up, this generally is going to break to the upside. And I'm a bull in silver, so I think, I would be a buyer where it's at myself, but that's just me. Platinum, hopefully platinum can come back a little bit more. It'd be nice to see it in the 986 range because I'm going to be a buyer. I'm going to be buying my boy platinum, little platty. And if we get down there, I'm going to load up again. That's just what I do. I'm going to buy it when things are down. I'm waiting for that momentum to kind of come. Hopefully it carries us down there and it just slowly kind of comes to this and sits there for a little bit. So it gives me a little buying window. XAU to gold ratio, that also dropped a little bit. It's not necessarily a reversal candlestick or anything, just a down day. GDX also getting that normal down day. Remember, what I look for is we went up one day and it took 2 days to come on back basically to the opening price from this closing. That means that the selling pressure is weaker than the buying pressure. This is what I look for. I do think that it's going to continue higher over time. It's going to continue to grind on up. SILJ also, I think, experiencing something similar to GDX. So we were down today 2%, and we're back at that support level. That is a gift. That is a gift. Use those. I use those as potential buying opportunities for the companies that I do like. Crude oil down 1.93%. So generally what happens is we get a breakout. Let me go here. We get a breakout. Boom. We get a back test somewhere. Then we go. And right now, I think we're going to get that back test. We're going to get a little bit of selling pressure in oil. in the short term, which we're doing. Maybe we even come back to this upper 70s or mid 70s or something like that. We do a little bit of a retest. That's going to be a buying opportunity, in my opinion. And what we want to see is we want to see outperformance of XOP and OIH. That means that people are positioning in those ETFs relative to crude oil. If this was a topping pattern, we would see people running away from XOP and OIH. So keep that in mind. And then natural gas is also trying to put in some sort of bottom. We still got momentum to the downside. It's going to take some time. And I think we're going to do some humps. My humps, my humps, my humps, they say. I do think that this is a gigantic Livermore cylinder, and we have not bottomed yet. We are getting close to it, though. We're very close. Now, again, I cost average in a little bit, not in natural gas itself, but in some of the natural gas producing companies, because I'm usually early, and I like to cost average in slowly. So that's my strategy. I want to buy the entire bottom. XOP, yeah, you know me, a little bit of selling pressure today. Could it come back a little bit? It very well could. We're kind of getting at the battle of the buyers and sellers. Now, it doesn't mean it has to pull back. The momentum is upward. And we've got a little bit of a selling pressure day to day. We could pull back a little bit, but again, the short-term, low probability bet. My bet is when you back out, you put on logarithmic. I think that this is a shoulder, head, shoulder, and I don't know where this is necessarily going to bottom. It could bottom right where we're at. It could bottom a little bit lower. Doesn't really matter. I'm playing it for the big long-term, big picture view. And if we do come back a little bit, I'll just continue to average in the entire, way down here. So that's my strategy and game plan. Doesn't mean that you guys are going to do it. You can do whatever you want, but that's what I'm doing. OIH, the energy service companies, still look fabuloso. Looking really good. We got a little bit of selling pressure today. We got this little selling pressure day there, a little one there. We've got buyers and sellers dueling it back. That's a bullish engulfing, bearish engulfing. Bearish engulfing, we're going back and forth. More or less what this is just showing us is that there's buyers and sellers at this spot, which means it's a support and a resistance level. That's what I've drawn in here. Now I could also extend this all the way back, and you can see that we're coming into there's resistance over here, there's some resistance in here, and then we're getting back up. Now we just got to break through it. It's going to take some time. We got to shed these sellers off, shut them off our backs, get the piano off our back, and then we're going to be rolling here. Rolling to the upside. Why do I think that? Because I don't think oil is going to stay where it's at for a very long time. I think this year, definitely the back half of this year, or summer, I should say. So summertime in the back half, we could get real tight. And I think we're going to be doing a lot more drilling and getting a lot less production as we go to lower and lower tier wells or fields. So this is going to take it's going to take time to get production back up, and it's going to take a lot of money and a lot of drilling. And I don't know if we're going to reverse the trends in some of these fields. So that's kind of where my head's at. Now the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, guys, this is game on. This is big. This is really big. This is game on, guys. Look at that. Look at that. The Green Army is a coming over here. Look at that. It's all Green Army, right? Green Army's the big green candlesticks. We finished strong today. Thumb up. Way to go. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. What do we do? You should be doing nothing. You should already be positioned, holding for a potential launch. Where's the big picture view? 1818. We want to close above 1818 on a weekly, first a daily, then a weekly, then a monthly, then it's party time. I think when we break this, we could maybe do a retest move, and then it's game on, baby, let's go. And URNM is also, it's also playing game, guys. We're playing game across the board here. And today we broke out to the upside for URNM. What does that mean? So we've got this resistance line coming down here. We were in a large consolidation period all through here. We've got the 1 hump, 2 hump, 3 hump, and now we're starting to break to the upside. Now I'm not going to start hitting alarm bells saying, yeah, it's time to go. But guys, we're breaking out here. And we could come up, maybe we do a return move. Again, I don't know what the path will look like. But what I'm going to say is the path over time is going to be higher. So a lot of the heavy lifting's been done. And when we start to break through this, now keep in mind here too, guys, we had a strong resistance line. If I draw it kind of in this general vicinity, and we broke through that. See where we traded here, we hit it there, we hit it down here, we hit it all over the place. That was a big deal, and we're breaking to the upside. So this is huge, and URNM looks fantastic, and there are a lot of uranium companies that have me drooling all over the place. And I've continued to add into it, and I'm going to make every single, how can I say this? I'm going to take every position I have. I've thought through it very carefully. I've looked at all the charts. I've done fractal analysis. I've done everything I possibly could, and I'm loading up as much as I possibly can in these speculative positions for a uranium run higher. Again, I don't know the path that this will take, but I'm going to be cost averaging in. Looking at tan also looking fantastic. Again, I think this is going to break to the upside and it's going to run. This here is also a very, very big fractal. You could see a very large move in the solar companies. Very, very large. Much like uranium, much like oil and natural gas and some of those companies. COPX, a little bit of a down day today. Now, this thing has been resilient. The down days have been tight and controlled. The up days have been a little bit larger. The buyers are still in control at this time until I see a change in that. I have not seen a change yet. Lithium still going strong. A little bit of a wick at the top, but still looking quite good. So that's lithium there. Kind of an ugly looking chart all over the place here, but it's looking good. And that is a kind of a dip down for a slingshot higher. REMX getting a little bit of a selling pressure day today, but I would use that as a buying opportunity. Rare earth metals break into the upside. We could be doing a return move back to that breakout point. Again, I don't know the path, but this thing is at the ideal buy point. When you look at technical analysis, you get a double bottom, you come on down, you get a pause point here, and then you get a big uptrend move. So I think rare earth metals, absolutely fantastic looking. SPX, slightly higher today. And we're kind of just grinding on up. Now, is this a false, we are coming into a corner here. Are we going to break down and do a retest move? Is this a topping pattern? Are we going to break higher? I don't know. Let's watch this thing. I'm not really in this. I'm in the commodity stuff, but it doesn't look too bad. And that's a really small pattern that I drew anyway. So we could just see it maybe a slightly down move and then we go higher. Maybe a return move or something like that. So that's what I'm seeing in the SPX. Looking at the NASDAQ also finished quite strong, up 1%. It looks to me like it's trying to break out. The next thing you want to do is you want to look to the left. Do we have a resistance through here? We do. We've got some resistance. We're hitting through it. We're trying to break through it. You might even get a little return move, but it's looking actually quite strong. Emerging markets. I still like emerging markets quite a bit. Downtrend line break. We're in a new uptrend. Looks fantastic. XHB. Home builders. What do we have here, home builders? So we've got the home builders here. And we're getting a bullish engulfing where this wants to move higher. The home builders and all these guys, like I've been the only bull that's, I think, remained throughout this entire thing. Everyone has switched to bear mode in the housing market. And I understand why. Yes, interest rates are high. If they continue to keep interest rates where they're at, the affordability will be horrible. I completely agree. But I don't know if there's any pressure to massively sell off homes or massively increase inventory in the markets from foreclosures, delinquencies, from all of that. I mean, the amount of people that have purchased homes on fixed rate 30-year mortgages it's an insane amount. There's hardly anybody out there that's really subject to a bunch of foreclosures. Now, maybe I'm going to eat my words at some point, but right now this looks very strong, and the home builders look like they want to go higher. Looking at Moo's the agribusiness ETF, just a small down day, nothing to worry about there. We've got the copper futures. I talked about maybe getting a little bit of a pullback in copper. We've had a massive move here. Yeah, we're getting a wick at the top here. The opening and closing prices come where the buyers equal the sellers. We could get a little bit of a pullback, but again, I don't know the path. And a lot of the times, the way that this falls is the way that this will go up. It'll match it. So maybe we pull back to like $4.12 or something. But it still looks not too bad, and the buyers did come in and put a little wick at the bottom of that thing. Lumber, we gapped up in the morning and came back down. The momentum is coming back down. Nonetheless, it was an up day today, 0.88%. But we've had a big breakout here from the falling wedge, and I do think that will continue higher. I don't know the path. I just think it'll grind on up. Looking at, this is iron ore. We're switching to the line charts, baby. I don't know why mine's not updating. It still says December, so we'll skip that. We've got nickel. This guy's continuing higher. What happened is we came into a rising wedge, broke out. Maybe we kind of moved down like that, do like an ABC correction or something, and then work our way on higher. Overall, though, I think we're going higher in the long-term big picture view. Aluminum slightly lower today. Again, this is a inverted head and shoulders pattern that will eventually work its way on up. And I think this is going to be the start of a very big move, because we've got basically a big breakout, a retest move, and then we go and grind our way on higher into a new uptrend. Baltic Dry Index, this guy's been struggling a little bit, but nonetheless, we're doing a slingshot, I think, where we'll slingshot on higher. This is a falling wedge pattern. We've got the 3 humps. We've come a little bit overextended. You can see that we're down. You can see the line going across where the price is at. We've got good support right where we're at. That's at a very low level. I like it. It's going to go higher, I think. Newcastle coal futures. Again, we're right on that support level where it looks like we're kind of stabilizing, and we're putting in a large pattern where we could eventually work our way and break on higher. Ethereum also looking slightly higher. Switching back to candle mode. Going to the dailies here. We're just kind of consolidating in some sort of pattern there, and then eventually we'll break to the upside, in my opinion. Bitcoin's doing the same thing. It's just consolidating a little bit, and eventually I think we'll just continue to grind higher. So that's my view there. And remember, that is liquidity driven. Liquidity. So your question should be, how is lumber going up? How is Ethereum and Bitcoin going up? How is the S&P and NASDAQ? They're all breaking out. I don't know. Maybe there's liquidity coming into the market and the market knows it and people are positioning that way. The news usually comes out after. We're looking at how money is positioning. So it looks good. Looks good across the board. And I like pretty much uranium. Pretty much uranium is looking really good right now. That's the one I've got my eye on. That's the one that I think could do some incredible stuff. So hopefully you guys are doing all right. If you guys need any help, check out the website. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And guys, hopefully you're having a good day. Catch you later. This is Finding Value.